Now on Talking Solutions, Alex Lee is with us from Notes with a Purpose. Welcome, Alex.
Hello.
I got word about you and what you do through Chris Palladino with the Las Vegas Natural History Museum. He feels the work that you're doing is so important. He decided to introduce us by email, and I'm so glad that he did.
Oh, me too. I'm so honored. That was such a great gesture.
It's Notes with a Purpose. It's a charity. Alex, I was reading a little bit about you. Stuff like, well, I'm seeing that you're an incredibly accomplished pianist. You have played places like Carnegie Hall and things going on in Canada. How does Notes with a Purpose, a charity right here in Las Vegas, come to be? And then I saw you're a native.
I am a born and raised Las Vegan. Yes.
How did you get from growing up here in Las Vegas to accomplishing all these amazing things and then coming right back around to Las Vegas and starting this amazing charity?
It feels so good to have it come full circle. It starts out with growing up as a pianist in Las Vegas. I am a classical pianist, and I started playing when I was 2.5. I have a mother who's a piano teacher. She and my dad still live here. Growing up in Las Vegas, I really loved being from here, but after I left high school, I lived in New York for about 15 years. But during that time, I knew I would eventually come back to Las Vegas and do my best to contribute to my hometown. So it really came about through a festival and learning how to start a 501c3. It's been a journey, and I've been loving life. There's such a purpose to what we're doing.
I can't wait to share this with everyone. You talk about creating a 501c3. Been there, done that. To do it right, it does include a tremendous amount of work, and I don't think a lot of people realize that. It's hard to toe the line and do it right and create a 501c3, but you obviously saw a need here in Las Vegas. What does Notes with a Purpose do?
We are producing and presenting high-quality music experiences for people who can't get those experiences normally. We target at-risk and underprivileged youth and their parents. But then we go over to a fancier end, and we also pair wine to classical music. We oversee 4 different programs at this moment, and being a year old, I feel like we're accomplishing a lot in that way. But Notes with a Purpose is here to make classical music accessible, engaging, and fun. You know, I think there's such a stigma with classical music that it's unapproachable, and it's quite the opposite. Being a classical pianist all my life and playing in hundreds of different venues, music is music. And classical music is really, depending on how you just put the framework, it's absolutely approachable.
And it's timeless. I would imagine, too, Alex, that a lot of the kids in these schools that you're able to expose to classical music, they're hearing pretty much rap music and not a lot of variety until you come and show them that there is something else. What reactions do you get from kids when you expose them to this whole new world of music?
What's wonderful to see is they don't prejudge. You lay it out for them, and they're experiencing it just as they would any other form of music. If you don't make a big deal out of it and say, oh, you know, you're going to be listening to classical music, be careful, be warned, you might fall asleep. I mean, we're not giving that disclaimer here. So the musicians that come in that we present are trained musicians, trained teaching artists. They're able to engage these students fully. And the students are answering questions that are thrown out about their emotional ties to the music that they're hearing. They're being prompted to answer questions that might have to do with historical context. You know, it doesn't always have to be just the music part, but how music ties into the larger scheme of life. And you mentioned Chris Palladino earlier from Las Vegas Natural History Museum. They oversee the Las Vegas Science and Technology Festival.
Yeah, Sci-Fest is incredible.
The Sci-Fest is amazing. They are actually co-sponsoring one of our outreach programs, and we'll be talking about science and music. There are just so many things to show kids through music. It's just a tool to really tap into a deeper experience with oneself, really enriching the quality of life. You kind of get that mission statement a lot. It's in our mission statement, but truly it is about enriching quality of life, how you view life, how you'll go about your day. And if music can be a part of that and I can be one to assist, I'm all the happier for it.
Alex Lee is with us today on Talking Solutions, and we are discussing Notes with a Purpose. It's a 501c3 charity here in Las Vegas. You've been around a year now?
Yes, one year.
You've actually exposed a lot of individuals to music.
Yep, we're 1 year old. We officially got our nonprofit status in February, but we've engaged over 18,000 individuals with classical music programming already.
It makes a big difference. I've seen scientific studies over time that have said that this kind of music enrichment, it's good for our brains. It's good for our minds. There are so many parts of the music experience that people really don't credit the way they should because it's a big part of life.
Oh, absolutely. It builds our brains. It makes both left and right side of the brain collaborate with one another. Beyond that, when you're looking at going into schools, you're talking about teamwork, collaboration. You're talking about creativity, abstract thinking. That's why STEM has now turned to STEAM.
Yes, you're the A in STEAM.
I am the A in STEAM. And there's a project that we are bringing. It's a program, but it's called the Lullaby Project. That is incredibly important because it goes beyond the actual building of synapses in the brain to emotional bonding. Can I talk about the Lullaby Project?
Love to know.
We're starting this project this year. We are pairing musicians with pregnant mothers who are in challenging circumstances, emotionally or socially, and we're helping them write a lullaby for their baby. And then we record it in a professional studio. The mother is then given this professional recording for them to have and to sing for their baby and to play for their baby as they grow. I grew up with a lullaby. I still remember what my mom used to sing to me. So when I heard about this project 5 years ago now, it was at Carnegie Hall. I was living in Manhattan, and I just thought, gosh, I must be involved in some way with the Lullaby Project. I'm not necessarily a composer or an improviser, but what if I can start this project in a place that could really use it? So Lullaby Project is going to launch this year, pilot program. I've already created partnerships with Sunrise Children's Foundation, which helps over 12,000 mothers go through the process of nurturing and caring for their baby, and also partnering with the UNLV Jazz Studies Department. And in that way, we are having students who are very talented. It's an award-winning jazz department. We're having these students really make a difference in their community by going out and connecting to those who need music like this and recording and composing with these mothers.
Very interesting, Alex, the way that you're taking these different groups who might not otherwise ever work together. Sunrise Children's Foundation with the UNLV jazz groups, they might not ever work together on a project like the one that you're describing.
That's what I love about this job and having Notes with a Purpose. We are a bridge. I feel like we are connecting communities, connecting musicians with audiences. I think actually sort of an overarching philosophy is to connect people and these different audiences. We have another program which does the exact same thing. It's called Wednesdays Live at the Mission. That's where every Wednesday for the 2 dinner services that they have, where they feed up to 600 meals in one evening, we have high school music students coming in to play during these dinners. A lot of them come from Las Vegas Academy. I'm an alumni. I was a piano major. And a lot of these students don't have the opportunity to share their work. They're constantly told to practice. They're honing their skills. And I went to prestigious East Coast schools. There's this idea, well, if you're not playing in Carnegie Hall, is the performance worth it? But here, that notion is tossed out the window. Students are playing for people who are having perhaps their one and only meal of the day. They're playing on this beautiful grand piano inside the Las Vegas Rescue Mission's dining hall, and everyone is getting this experience. It is so reciprocal between both students, the musicians, and the audience.
So the kids who have gone to the Las Vegas Rescue Mission on Wednesday, and they've performed for the individuals who are dining there, they get a lot back out of it, don't they?
Absolutely. One of the things that I make them do, too, is I have them speak into the microphone. That is a litmus test as to whether you're comfortable with your audience or not, and also if you're comfortable with the idea of stage presence. But I've seen some kids take the microphone at the beginning and just hand it back to me or mumble into the microphone, really unsure. Even if I've prepped them, which I do, I give them a little coaching in how to do that. But now there are students who can run it. I don't even walk up there anymore sometimes Wednesdays. I just see he just is going into his junior year. He goes up there and he introduces himself and talks about Chopin and Chopin's life and how it could relate to the audience, to the diners. And then he'll perform this 13-minute ballade by Chopin. The music just fills the dining room. It changes the space. It just transforms it. There are some people who come every Wednesday. The second dinner is actually for addiction recovery clients. So every Wednesday, they walk in, they go, oh, it's Wednesday. They've come to know the students. I joke that they're kind of the house band. And for me, it means so much to see the students get as much out of it as much as the people listening. That's how it started for me as a pianist. I was lucky enough to be sponsored for several outreach programs. First, while I was a student at Las Vegas Academy, I was the piano department representative. I grew up feeling very lucky. My parents have given me everything that I feel like I could possibly need. And here I was being taken by a Metro officer to a Title I school. 5th grade, it was a DARE program. It was essay day. And I read some of these essays by these 10-year-olds who have just seen things that I still haven't seen and can't even imagine being in their shoes. That opened up my eyes. And I said, well, how can music help this? And that was a seed. And then I left for New York. I won an international music award called Pro Musicus that not only sponsored my Carnegie Hall debut as a pianist, playing a solo recital, but the next week they sponsored my debut inside the Phoenix House Addiction Recovery Program facility. I performed for 200 addiction recovery clients a week after my Carnegie Hall debut. And guess which one was actually kind of the better audience, more receptive. The energy was alive in that room. And then a few months later, lucky me, I get to play in Carnegie Hall again because I won a position as resident pianist of Carnegie Hall for 2 years.
Wow.
So not only did I get to perform on a regular concert season, they trained me as a teaching artist to go into the community. I played in hospitals, schools, and also prisons, and taught me the importance of providing that framework. I understood why I was supposed to be doing that. It felt like that position fit me so well because I believe in bringing music to everyone. Everyone's going to experience music the same way. The socioeconomic status of someone doesn't matter when it's just music. Then I want a very coveted job with Carnegie Hall, but why is it that I have to be that one person? Why am I so lucky to be that one person who gets to go play in prison? I think everyone needs that opportunity, especially if you're a developing musician. You want to be exposed to this, to see that just because you flubbed a note, well, is the meaning there? Is that what is your intention behind the music? And so I just feel that fostering this early altruism in kids is very important because I hope that one of these kids has the same exact reaction I did when I was a high school student and turns around in 10, 15 years and says, you know, that was really cool. I'd like to do this too. And this just grows out like a web.
I think as young performers, feedback from the audience is so critical. The experience of being on stage, interacting with people, not just with your music, but also with the microphone, being on stage, explaining why you're there, what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And when you were talking about how every Wednesday through Notes with a Purpose, you've got young performers playing music at the Las Vegas Rescue Mission, filled with people who are down on their luck, who need to be fed. But through your music, you turn it into a beautiful space.
It certainly feels beautiful. I sometimes wish that every Wednesday I was here in town. It's so rewarding. It's fulfilling to see. I get to see Chip, who is the CEO of the mission. He'll drop by on a Wednesday evening to hear the students because that whole energy of that place changes. The work that they do is incredible. It's a shelter, it's an addiction recovery program, it's a food pantry. We are so happy to be a part of their mission. We are so happy that we can put music in the space for them.
Notes with a Purpose. Alex, the people that you are helping through your music, it's so wide-ranging because when we were first discussing this, you were talking about going out to Title I schools and helping kids who did not have the privilege that some have been blessed with. But you also talked about the stuff that you're doing with expectant moms, helping with that bonding. Years ago, I had a girlfriend who played nothing but classical music for her baby and talking about through Notes with a Purpose, how lullabies are being created for those moms, for the babies. So you've got expectant moms, young kids who might not otherwise get exposed to this wonderful music, people with the Las Vegas Rescue Mission, quite the wide range of experiences in a year. Good work.
Thank you.
Alex, I know that you've got a couple of projects happening this coming week for Notes with a Purpose. And these, once again, will affect a whole different segment coming up on, is it the 16th, September 16th?
Yes.
Saturday at the JW Marriott. Brunch, music, what's the deal?
It's something very unique. It's a combined brunch and concert experience. Mimosas and Mozart is part of our Las Vegas Music and Wine Festival series, bringing classical music outside the concert hall, pairing wine to the music. But with Mimosas and Mozart, we are having a gourmet brunch provided by JW Marriott. I mean, their brunch is fantastic, and I'm so excited. And having concert sets put in between the brunch portions of the 2.5, 3-hour experience. You eat, and you're also going to be performed for by 8 professional musicians that are also mere feet away from you. One of the things that we make sure that we do is keep the audience size intimate. It's about having the musician, after their first set, mingle with the audience in between. I really never appreciated how much I enjoyed connecting to the audience. The rapport that you can build from speaking from the stage, that shouldn't disappear once you play your last note, you bow, you leave. It's about going out to the audience. We're here also to see how you've experienced the concert, or just to share a glass of wine together.
And what a great time to come up and say you were incredible.
We're having some pretty awesome instrumentalists come in for Mimosas and Mozart. I mean, we have a bassoonist, oboist, clarinetist, French horn player. We have 2 flutists. We have a singer, and I'm also performing myself as a pianist. And there are so many people who have studied music in grade school, and they've picked up an instrument, and they'll get to be up close to these people who have really immersed themselves all their lives. And it just makes it unintimidating. What the heck is a bassoon? But to see someone, hear them warm up a little bit in the back of the room, of JW Marriott, and say, it kind of sounds like duck noises. But they'll also play some incredible Mozart for you and some other pieces. It really becomes fun. Music, libations, food. It's a multi-sensory experience. And what's also wonderful about this event is it's to benefit our outreach programs. Everything that we do for the Music and Wine Festival, all the proceeds, 100% go back into the community. It's to help bring in Carnegie Hall teaching artists to go to Title I schools through the Music Juice Box series.
So we go to this event coming up Saturday at the JW Marriott, and we get the food, the drink, the music, the experience, but all the money that we spend to do that, 100% is going back into the programs that you put back into the community.
Yeah, that's right. All the proceeds. And it feels good to have that, to brunch for a cause, to concert for a cause.
It's a great idea. How do people get tickets?
Tickets are available on Eventbrite. The website is mimosasandmozart.eventbrite.com, or by visiting our website, noteswithapurpose.org.
I will have both of those links on our Talking Solutions Facebook page, along with the podcast of our discussion today. Now, Alex Lee with Notes for a Purpose. We talked about your event on Saturday the 16th, but I think the very next day on Sunday the 17th, are you turning around and doing something totally different?
Yes. Oh, gosh. It is a very quick turnaround. The next day, the musicians and I are going to the Windmill Library, and we're providing a family and kids and parents experience where they get to build their own instrument. It's an instrument factory and concert, and it's free to the public. Kids will get to build little harmonicas. Okay, you're looking at me like we're going to build this Smithsonian exhibit harmonica. No, but they get to build a harmonica and a kazoo. And after they do that, it's a woodwind instrument, right? They get to hear the Dorian Woodwind Quintet perform, and they'll get to play with them on their new little harmonicas and kazoos.
That they created.
They get to debut with professional musicians from New York City. It's a fantastic group that's been around for over 20 years. And they're going to be able to interact with the kids and parents. And it's going to be a really fun time.
You say it's free.
It's free. And this is our first time partnering with the Clark County Library District, and very happy to do that. So these 2 events that I'm talking about are the kickoff for Notes with a Purpose's second season. I can't believe how fast time is going by, but at the same time, this is only our second season, and we have incredible partnerships with organizations and nonprofits who I so admire and respect and love their mission.
just going into your second season, you've already been very active in exposing a lot of people to music that they would not otherwise have been able to be part of. Changing the atmosphere of the rooms where you perform, as you mentioned earlier. We always ask, Alex, as part of Talking Solutions, what can we do to help you?
Thank you for asking that question. It's a generous thought to think that listeners consider experiencing something that they haven't considered before. To have Beasley behind this too. As we said earlier, music is music. It's about access to culture and access to the arts. Not only would I encourage listeners to come to our events because they're fun, they're experiential, and they're high quality, but I also encourage them to go to other events. It's just the idea of supporting arts and culture in Las Vegas. I had been away for 16 years or so, and you hear a lot of the stigma when you live away from Las Vegas.
Perceptions are so off.
It is so off. They don't realize what community we have here, communities. The fact that we do have this incredible performing arts center and we have ballet, opera, philharmonic, all these things, they're here. They're growing, ever evolving, and I think that's the most important thing for any arts organization to do. Like, we have a responsibility, actually, as arts producers, to take it to the community and to have this working relationship, this synergy. I think that is incredibly important. So having moved back full-time last summer, I'm seeing how incredibly supportive people are. But if I can also extend that invitation to try something new out, because classical music does still have that stigma. What I appreciated from my first festival, before I even got back to Las Vegas in June 2015, I launched a 3-day festival at the Nevada State Museum. It's tucked away in the back of the Springs Preserve.
Yep.
And over 3 evenings, we paired wine to classical music. Incredible venue, incredible views. Over half of our audience had never been to a classical music concert. Majority of them don't go to a performing arts center like the Smith Center. They don't go to the Philharmonic. But they responded that they wanted to see more of this, that they wanted to come back. I had grown men crying in the front because they were having this experience, because we make music relatable. And that kind of philosophy that I hold, I mean, really, Notes with a Purpose is a projection of my values, bringing music in a repackaged way, in an accessible way, in a thoughtful way for people. So I hope to see people who are listening to this at the event. Please come up and say hi. You'll be able to find me. We're capping it at no more than 125 people in the room. I mean, that's how intimate we get. And to really start a conversation, or not, you can just come and listen to the music, eat. You will have one of the musicians eat at your table of 10. That's another wonderful thing. Again, breaking down the barriers of musician and audience. It's what we call the fourth wall, right? As anybody from the stage will say. But I hope to see people supporting the arts.
And we can do that by getting involved with Notes with a Purpose.
We thought of notes because of wine notes and music notes. It's a way to capture both those elements. And the person I actually have to thank for naming that is someone who used to be a development director at Lou Ruvo, but now she's over at St. Rose Dignity Health. I have some wonderful people encouraging me, supporting me, and helping me name the organization was really helpful too.
You already knew what you wanted to do. You just didn't know exactly how you wanted to name it. It sounds like you're doing a lot of great exposure of the arts to people who might not have it otherwise in their lives. And we know music enriches everything. Is there anything I'm forgetting?
I think we hit home what our mission is. I would encourage people signing up for our newsletter because we do have a festival that has really amazing events. We popped up a concert in the Porsche showroom in March. We want to keep people apprised of that. Also, the moments that we have in this community. This is the biggest small city.
It's a special place.
Yes.
How giving the community is, how open they are to experiencing things, and how many great opportunities can be put forth and people go, yeah, I'd love to do that.
That's right.
So, Alex, when you got stuff going on, you can come over here and join us on Talking Solutions. That's why we're here.
I appreciate that so much, Terry.
As we mentioned, all of the links, including a podcast of our discussion today, will be on the Talking Solutions Facebook page. Alex Lee with Notes with a Purpose. Thank you so much for coming in and telling us all about it here today on Talking Solutions.
Oh, I had a great time. Thank you for having me.